Yo, what's going on guys, XpertFusion here, and today I'm going to bring you a video talking about a topic that's been kind of floating around the Call of Duty community a lot the past few days in regards to the amount of content in Black Ops Cold War, specifically the lack of content, mainly in the multiplayer. I'm not really going to focus on zombies or campaign, A, because I haven't played the campaign yet, and B, because zombies, we're going to talk about zombies in a different video probably later on. But right now I want to talk about multiplayer. Sorry for the lack of uploads the past 2 days. I've been incredibly sick. I still kind of am. You can probably hear it in my voice a little bit, but we're going to push through. We're still going to upload some videos today. Hopefully I can get the Easter egg done on that machine. We'll try that out later. But today I just want to quickly talk about the lack of content in the multiplayer of Black Ops Cold War, because we heard about how many maps, how many guns, how many streaks were going to be in this game. Like a couple days ago, we started seeing all the leaks coming out, and most people were pretty disappointed with the amount of guns, the amount of maps, and I have not heard anyone talk about this, but I've been disappointed with the amount of modes in the game as well. There's just not a lot to this game. Like, it's literally what the beta had, plus maybe like 6 more guns, 7 more guns, 2 more maps, and then like a couple more streaks. I'm not disappointed with the streaks. I actually think the score streaks are fine the way they are. Of course, I do want to see more streaks added. We did see leaked streaks like the VSAT. Apparently dogs were leaked at some point, so I do think these will come for DLC, also a flamethrower and a death machine. We will be definitely getting DLC streaks this year. I have no doubt in my mind about that. But the amount of streaks in the game right now is already pretty decent. Like, it's just about as much as we usually see in COD games, so I'm not really disappointed with the streaks at all. But when it comes to maps, guns, and modes, I'm definitely pretty disappointed with what we have here. But this isn't going to ruin the whole game, nor will it ruin the entirety of the life cycle of this game, obviously, because we're going to be getting a lot of DLC, and of course it's free. If this was a year where we had paid DLC, it would be more of an issue, but I feel like it's not going to be as big of an issue because the DLC is free, so we're going to get more stuff over time. And I do understand the reasons as to why this probably is. It's probably a mix of things, right? You have obviously the pandemic going on. That's a clear indication that might have, held them back from making as many maps. We had the fact that Treyarch was thrown onto this game pretty late, so they already didn't have much time to work on it in the first place. And we also have the fact that I'm pretty sure Activision would prefer to kind of keep player retention as high as possible over time, so they'd prefer the game had more DLC than what it has at launch. And this is something they've been doing for the past couple years. Modern Warfare saw this. Everyone's comparing the amount of content in this game to Modern Warfare. Well, Modern Warfare didn't really even have that much at launch when you really look at it. Like, yes, it had more than Cold War does for sure, but not that much more. It was still holding back a lot of DLC guns, a lot of maps, and a lot of different features that we all wanted at launch. And we got it over time because they would start drip feeding us content to keep the player retention higher, and it worked. They kept keeping us, invested. Everyone keeps comparing this to like back in the day when we would get like 16 maps at launch, which only really happened like once or twice. It was usually like 14 or 12 or something, but still, we had a lot more maps back in the day, but we also only had 4 DLC packs throughout the season, which, yes, they had a decent amount of maps in there as well, but it was like just 4 DLCs that we had to wait for and get excited for. But between those times, there was nothing new really being added. They might have made some bug fixes and some patches, but that's about it. They would never actually have like weekly DLC events like they do with the past couple Call of Duty games. And I really do believe they want to keep doing this because of Fortnite. Fortnite was the first game to really push hard, the free DLC model, but doing it consistently, keeping players coming back, but also having a shop on top of that where they're selling a lot of cosmetics for decently high prices, which kind of usually, gets people to buy stuff. That's what they've been doing, and I don't blame them for doing that. So I won't have an issue with the lack of content in Cold War as long as we get a lot of DLC throughout the next year and possibly even 2 years. A lot of DLC. And the only way we're going to really get that is if Treyarch isn't forced to work on their next COD as early as we assume. Like, if they have to make their next Call of Duty for 2022 just in the next 2 years, we could say goodbye to any decent amount of content for this game, and I guarantee this will be the slimmest Call of Duty of all time. I don't think we'll get a lot of DLC if that's the case, and if we do, it'll be a lot of remastered stuff and not a lot of new stuff. But if their next game is not going to come out till 2023 or even 2024 or something like that, we can expect a decent amount of DLC, and I'm not too worried about the lack of content on launch because I guarantee you 6 months from now, the game's going to be popping with content. But right now, yes, it is pretty slim. So this is an example I'm going to bring to you guys. So let's assume Call of Duty was planning to have 12 6v6 maps at launch and 12 DLC 6v6 maps, right? Now, if they were to, let's say, delay 2 of the launch maps, so making it only 10 6v6 maps at launch, and they were to make those 2 maps now being a part of the DLC, making it 14 DLC maps. If it's free DLC and it's no paid DLC, that's fine. I don't have any issue with that. You still get the same amount of maps over time, you're not paying any more. It's just you have to wait a little bit longer just for them to finish up those maps. I'm completely fine with that. But where the problem lies is if they do something like this, where you have still 12 planned, launch maps and then 12 DLC maps, but those 2 delayed maps on launch now take place of 2 other maps that were planned for DLC. So you still only have 12 DLC maps. They don't increase the amount to 14 and 10, launch maps. That's where the problems lie. And the reason why that's very possible is because just because you plan 12 maps doesn't mean you have 12 maps made, right? They make these maps ahead of time, but not like that far ahead of time. They're probably working on maps for like March or April right now that'll come out within those months, but maps that we assume would come out in like August or something of next year, I don't think they finished yet, and they're probably working like on those in the next couple months. So they could definitely still take maps that we were supposed to get for launch and just add those into what we would normally get for DLC, which if that was the case, that's unfortunate, and that it would be shitty, and I wouldn't like that. If they still have enough time to make even more maps on top of it for DLC, then I'm happy. Like if we get in the season 1 update, we get like 3 new maps, which I don't know if that's possible. I'm thinking maybe 1 new map and then 1 remade map. Hopefully it's at least 2 new maps and then 1 remade. That would be the best, possibility. And obviously we're getting Nuketown in like a week or 2, so that's awesome as well. But I really think there's even just a lack of guns. I mean, there's a decent amount of guns. It's not like there's nothing there, and I think a lot of the guns are useful. So that's solid. Like everyone always compares it to Modern Warfare 3. Like, oh, Modern Warfare 3 had so many guns. Yeah, but like half of the guns were just crap. So the game didn't feel like it had so many guns. I feel like gun balance is way more important than how many guns you have themselves, because if you have a lot of guns and a lot of them are just terrible, or a lot of them are just not very different from other guns in the game, it's kind of just like, who cares then? I'd prefer the gun balance be better, and I do think the balance in this game has been pretty great so far, aside from the MP5. It's got to nerf that thing is way too overpowered, so they work on that, it could be just fine. And then in terms of modes, there's like no modes in this game. Of course, they're adding gunfights. I believe they're going to be adding heist as well for this season 1 update, but I still think there's just a lack of modes, and I don't know why they do that. I don't think it's that hard to create game modes. It really shouldn't be, and it's not really that big of a deal to me because I usually just play like domination, kill confirm, stuff like that anyways. But it's just nice to have more options. And then I don't even want to get into the custom games options. I know not a lot of people care about this, but custom games is important to me because my friends like to do a lot of fun things in custom games. And there's no preset class customization anymore, which I think is the stupidest thing. We haven't had this for the past couple Call of Duties, actually. The last COD I can remember having this was Infinite Warfare. I don't remember World War II. World War II probably had it, I just don't remember. But I know BO4, I know Modern Warfare didn't have it, which is so obnoxious. Let us customize our classes. The preset classes, that is, not your own classes. And the reason why I want that to happen is because then you can make classes for everyone, that everyone in the same match has to use the same exact classes. Especially with the gunsmith, it's really difficult to coordinate that with your friends, being like, okay, these are the attachments I need you guys to use in these classes, the exact perks, the exact everything. It's too complicated. Just let us be able to customize our preset classes, and there you go, for a game mode. It's really not that difficult, but they don't give you that many options in the custom games in this game. You can restrict things, yeah, but you can't make specific classes, and that's the problem. So I'm not too happy with the custom games options, and I'm just not happy with a lot of the content in general. The operators, there's like 13 operators. I feel like that's just such a slim amount. I don't know. Modern Warfare didn't have a lot at launch either, though, so I can't really act like it's a big, problem with this game specifically. I really just think it's COD in general. They're just really trying to add in more DLC. Launch to them doesn't really matter anymore. But I think launch is important because a lot of players stop playing after launch. A lot. They go on to different games. So you're not going to keep them invested if you don't start giving that content really, really soon. But Treyarch is being smart, and they're already, advertising the Season 1, as well as the Nuketown that'll be coming out in about a week or 2. So I guess that will keep players, somewhat attentive to it. I think a big issue as well is that the beta had a lot more content than the beta probably should have had, because think about it. if we didn't have an alpha and 2 beta weekends, we probably wouldn't be sick of the maps that we are already sick of as much, because I'm going into multiplayer. There's only 2 new maps that weren't in the beta, obviously. Well, 4 if you count the 2 6v6 variants of Crossroads and Armada, which definitely feel like their own map for sure, but there's still, you know, maps we played on before for the most part. So I really think if the beta only had like 3 maps maybe and didn't have both of the Fireteam maps in there, it would be at least a little more exciting, because it doesn't really seem like there's even that much new stuff in the game itself, which, like I said, is the unfortunate part. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about the lack of content in Black Ops Cold War. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be a huge issue as long as they give us more DLC and they don't hold back on that as soon as possible. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.